Master said modestly. I am a prodigy. I instantly transformed from a filing root into a divine grade spiritual root. The junior sister teased. I am a sword expert, but I suddenly felt like even sticking out a finger felt a strong cut. And all of this, simply because I have a magical trait. As long as others praise me, then the matter they praised would come true. 18 years ago, I traveled through a fantasy world. My master found and raised me at the foot of the mountain. But since the sect hadn't produced a disciple with spiritual roots for 30 years, tomorrow, the upper sect will send people to disband the sect. My only 5 fellow disciples were afraid of being implicated. He had already used family matters as an excuse to say goodbye to his master in advance. They also searched the courtyard for a thorough search. After not finding the previous item, he cursed and went down the mountain. Only I have nowhere left to go, accompanying the aging master. Together, we sigh and lament that the sect's glory is gone. You can be a monk who strikes the clock one day as you go. Even though the sect was to be disbanded tomorrow, I still got up and walked toward midfield. Anyway, he was just bored. I want to ring the bell I've been ringing for 17 years one last time. Inside the halftime, every 10 feet apart, there was a palm-sized iron bell. This was a gift from the Shangzong. Only prodigy disciples with spiritual roots. Only then can it be shattered. Looking around, the 80 shattered iron bells in the front row. It is a testament to the former glory of our sect. But I knocked for a full 17 years. The iron bell in front of him. Yet there was still no crack at all. Completely intact and unharmed. All I could do was complain while ringing the bell non-stop. And just as the bell was ringing, Master Li Changsheng watched my back. He kept sighing. With your intelligent and hardworking personality, if you possess a spiritual root, you can definitely soar to great heights. Unstoppable. Just as she finished speaking, I was ringing the bell. Suddenly, he felt a wave of warmth inside his body. Just by the position, it suddenly felt like something had appeared. This is a feeling I haven't experienced in over 10 years. Just thinking about that unlikely possibility, I excitedly raised the wooden hammer in my hand. Strike the iron bell again. With the resounding sound of a bell, my master, who had already turned away, suddenly heard it. At the very moment the bell tolled, it seemed to be mixed with a faint cracking sound. As I excitedly continued ringing the bell, the iron bell with cracks appeared. In the end, it was smashed into pieces scattered all over the ground. A full 18 years, I finally awakened my spiritual root. Even more excited than I was, my master, Li Changsheng. He was already trembling all over as he ran to my side, just like his own child. It was like getting into a top university. If it weren't for the sect being so limited, he really wanted to defeat Yanxi. He announced this good news to the world. Early the next morning, 2 stewards from the Qingyun sect, the upper sect, then he stepped upon the clouds and came. Their goal was precisely to disband the sect. Only then did I realize, my master, Li Changsheng, it turned out to be the protector of the upper sect, Qingyun sect. The supreme sect remembered him. He devoted himself again for over 80 years. He was specially permitted to redeem himself and return to Qingyun sect to cultivate. But I saw my master, that couldn't be suppressed at the corners of his mouth. I knew he was going to put on a show. Li Changsheng did not immediately agree to the steward's orders. It means there is a disciple within the sect who possesses a spiritual root. I hope the steward can take me back to Qingyun sect to cultivate together. Only then did the 2 stewards notice his delicate young disciple. One of them immediately placed his hand on my shoulder to check. Once it was confirmed that I truly possessed a spiritual root, without hesitation, waving his hand, we soared into the air. The 4 of us were completely shrouded in mist. It flew for 5 hours. Only then did they arrive at their destination, Qingyun sect. Looking at the mist-shrouded mountain peaks before him, I couldn't help but blurt out. The torrent plunges straight down 3,000 feet. First, the Milky Way descends from the 9th heaven. As soon as I spoke, this left the 2 of them utterly shocked. Plus, I heard from my master. These 2 lines were written by me when I was 5 years old. They excitedly suggested that I join the sect, defeated at the Wunsu Pavilion. The future is uncertain, and even become a Confucian sage. Then the 2 of them took me to a small peak. This is a gathering place for disciples who have not yet joined the sect. Everyone was waiting to attend tomorrow's sect entry Yangling conference. After telling me that there would be dedicated personnel to arrange the matter, the 2 teachers then took my master, Li Changsheng, and left together. Just as I saw master off, then I heard someone ask me from behind, "Are you a new disciple?" I turned around and saw a little girl wearing a pink jade bracelet. She said her name was Su Qiao. She is the daughter of the guardian here. After learning that I was also a counselor attending the Yangling assembly tomorrow, Su Qiao volunteered to take the lead. He said he wanted to take me to arrange a residence. I only found out during our conversation. Everyone gathered here, waiting for Yanling's disciple tomorrow. All of them have 0 roots. The Yangling assembly was only to distinguish disciples' ranks. Spiritual roots are divided into 7 grades from reverse grade to supreme grade, corresponding to different colors. It also indicates how highly the disciple is valued. After Su Qiao helped me find a clean place to stay, I was still protective of my pride. Asked him to take me around. He said he wanted to get familiar with the sect's environment. And just as we were wandering around, suddenly, a commotion erupted from the crowd. There were 3 young men in fine clothes, full of pride, walked past us. Su Qiao told me, all 3 were princes of the dynasty. He poured his heart and soul into cultivating spiritual roots for the royal family. Rumor has it that in their lifetime, they only develop a heaven-grade spiritual root. I couldn't help but envy these 3 for being born into such a good family. Su Qiao noticed something was wrong with my mood. He hurriedly comforted her. What's there to envy? Maybe you're still the child of Qi Yun. He possesses a top-grade spiritual root. Just as he finished speaking, suddenly, I felt the Dantian area. A familiar warmth came again. However, this warm sensation was fleeting. It makes me suspicious. Could it be that I was just deluding things? When Su Qiao praised me for awakening a supreme spiritual root before, I felt something unusual in my Dantian. After returning, I just closed my eyes and sat cross-legged. He wanted to see if he could check what was happening in his Dantian. Of course, the result was nothing. He hadn't even started formal cultivation yet. Even if I possess a spiritual root, I'm not much different from ordinary people. Early the next morning, the sect square was filled with the call of the lifelong gathering of disciples. I was on my way to attend the Yanglin conference. He encountered the only rat man, Su Qiao. As soon as we arrived at the square, we witnessed a shocking scene. It's not like the Yanglin crystal is the high-level central civil war. It was the three princes he met yesterday. They actually descended from the sky, bathed in golden light. This means they had started cultivating before joining the sect. I couldn't help but sigh. Born into a tech fire. It really is. It was at that very moment. Makura cried out in surprise again. Yet someone else descended from the sky. This was Lin Qingxue, the new generation saintess of the Xie Lan dynasty. Her entrance style is very similar to the previous three princes. The difference is, Lin Qingxue carried an air of coldness, as if all the living were lost. According to rumors, she is very likely pregnant with Dai Pinlingen. Even higher. As the Yanglin conference began, among the many disciples who have been tested, most of them were Fanpin monk Pinlingen, and those three flashy princes, among them, Sima Zun and young master Ouyang are green ground varieties. He was immediately designated as a Jingchuan disciple by a pavilion master and a hall master. The other was the crown prince of Great Qin, Qin Haotian. Thanks to the support of the imperial dynasty Qi Cloud, his original Earth grade Lin Zhen had successfully upgraded to a purple heaven grade Lin Zhen. Even the sect master of Qingyun sect kept praising him. This is the future that can be expected. Next, Saintess Lin Qingxue's test was even more astonishing. He did not rely on the Imperial Dynasty Qi Cloud. Instead, he directly detected that he possessed a purple heavenly grade Lin Zhen. Unlike the sect's gathering and the ecstatic uproar among the people, Qin Haotian, also a heaven grade Lin Zhen, showed a slight change in expression. Sima Zun and young master Wu Yang could hardly hide their disappointment. They originally thought they were already at the top. Unexpectedly, two heavenly grade Lin Zhen's heavenly cellar appeared in succession. And when the old man called out to Lin Moheng, I felt anxious. He walked toward the Yanglin crystal. I'm not concerned whether Lin Zhen is high level or low level. I was speechless. Why put me after these four monsters? Watching silently, and stared at my crowd with strange eyes, my outstretched palm. It was like touching a cactus. When the palm finally presses on the crystal, a dull grey representing the ordinary Lin Zhen glowed above. Observers shook their heads in amazement. This is the gap between mortals and heavenly interactions. Not far away, Su Qiao also gripped her hands tightly, showing regret on his face. But just moments later, the crystal's color changed rapidly. Grey flashes in sequence, white and yellow stop at orange. In just a few breaths, my Lin Zhen quality broke through to the spiritual level. Zhenchuan began to cry out in surprise. Everyone envies that I could become the core disciple of the sect. Just as the old man was about to announce my test results, the crystal color under my hand started to change again. First, it changed from orange to cyan. This made the two princes watching in the audience twitch their eyelids. But when the cyan on the crystal was completely swallowed by purple, the entire Yanglin square finally erupted in excitement. And yet another prodigy with a Tian grade Lin Zhen, suddenly emerging into the world. Even the defiant Qin Haotian began to tremble all over. You have to understand, he has exhausted the aura of the dynasty. He had just barely awakened this Jianpin Lin Zhen. I'm a person with no background at all. It was surprisingly easy to achieve. However, everyone was ultimately too superficial. Inside the purple crystal in my hand, a dazzling red light began to emerge. At this moment, the whole world was boiling. The vast Yanglin square actually began to tremble. The gravel leaves on the ground kept bouncing continuously. Only supreme spiritual roots emerge. That's why the environment is disturbed. Even the sect leader became so grand that he didn't dare to spread the word. 3 bright red bell chimes. At that moment, a message came over. That was the ancestor of the sect's highest customs. The ancestors resounded 3 times. It means the sect has a top-grade spiritual root descending into the world. Just as the Yanglin crystal completely turned red, after a deathly silence, an unprecedented cry erupted, including a cold, calm Lin Qingxue. Everyone's expressions changed dramatically. She stared at me, trembling all over. The sect master of Qingyun sect murmured softly, "Our Qingyun sect is going to produce a Qilina." But the next moment, things suddenly changed. The red crystal directly triggered a tremor in the surrounding spiritual energy. The disciples present who had already cultivated. Suddenly, he felt his body being torn apart. The spiritual energy inside his body was almost drained. The sect leader was the first to sense something was wrong. He immediately ascended into the air, formed seals in midair and cast spells, condensing into a phantom image in the mirror, covering the crystal perimeter. The already uncontrolled spiritual energy was finally stabilized. Seeing everyone excitedly shouting, "Supreme Lin Zhen," he looked at the elders' burning eyes, speaking of a once-in-a-millennium encounter, looking at the 3 princes with grim expressions, and Lin Qingxue, whose eyelashes trembled as she clenched her fists. Actually, I was overjoyed inside. 18 years have passed since I crossed over. I finally became the prodigy of this world. In the distance, Su Qiao was also looking excited and proud. This result was exactly as he had guessed yesterday. Not long after, Jiangnan was finally brought by two people who had come with my master. He saw it was his own disciple, awakened a supreme spiritual root. After a moment of stunned silence, Li Changsheng, he immediately burst into wild laughter. He laughed and patted my shoulder. I have known this for a long time. You are intelligent and capable, not to mention a mere top-grade spiritual root. Even if he awakened the legendary divine-grade spiritual root, I wouldn't find it strange at all. He deliberately raised the volume. This made everyone present feel ashamed. I'm already used to it. Master's habit of bragging. But as his master finished speaking, suddenly, I felt like I was suddenly struck by iron alone. A riot broke out. It was as if a raging fire was burning recklessly, and under the watchful eyes of the crowd, the red crystal clock in my hand was dimly lit. Spots of gold began to appear. The sect leader, who was controlling the crystal clock in midair, suddenly changed his expression. He immediately sent a voice transmission to the entire Qingyun sect. Let them immediately begin full contact with the Fury formation. Immediately after, the mountain peaks throughout the sect, using one after another, people stepping on the flowing light, accompanied by the sound of rhythmic formations. A grand formation made of mist slowly formed. He quickly enveloped the entire Qingyun sect. The next second, suddenly, the Yanglin crystal burst forth with golden light. The witness began a new round of eyelid twitching, because they remembered that myth that has been passed down for millennia. Awakened a golden divine grade spiritual root. He is the son of heaven of Jiuzhou. Just as the Yanglin crystal burst forth with a dazzling, key-like golden light, the ancestors on the highest peak of the sect once again rang out in succession. The Yanglin crystal beneath my palm instantly cracked with cracks. Then, with a crack, it exploded to pieces. The golden jacket was about to spread out, carrying a sharpening aura. The sect leader hurriedly ordered everyone to reinforce the Japanese formation. What he didn't expect was, this golden light gave him no time to prepare. A beam of dragon-shaped golden light finally broke through the formation. The next second, it soared into the clouds, dyeing 1,000 miles of mountains and rivers gold. This phenomenon immediately alarmed countless powerful beings across the 9 provinces. The commoner powerhouse was rushing toward Qingyun sect in an instant. He wanted to find this destined child with a divine-grade spiritual root as soon as possible, and it was on the highest peak of Qingyun sect. The statue of the 75th sect leader also began to tremble. 10,000 years ago, the Grandmaster Ancestor, who had appeared in the void at 5 years old, actually manifested his divine consciousness. He just waved his hand casually. He then activated the stronger Qingyun formation to Japan, rolling out a cloudy tornado. In an instant, the golden fragrant light was swallowed. The image faded so quickly, those powerful figures still on their way. He lost his sense of direction. Grandmaster Zhu Chitsai's deputy looked at the sect leader. I urged him to cultivate me well, this sweet child. After all this was done, only then did he disperse that divine sense. I looked at the crystal in front of me, now shattered into pieces. He was just making a few complaints. Suddenly looking up, he realized, whether it was the sect leader or the elders, even those 3 princes, even Lin Qingxue, and all the disciples, they were all staring straight at me. I shrank my neck. He inexplicably felt a bit uneasy inside. Master Li Changsheng was the first to step forward. Lahihi said he truly deserved to be his good disciple, and that his divine-grade spiritual root had earned him great honor. Looking at the old man in front of me, I felt extremely strange. It seemed he had just said that awakening a divine-grade spiritual root wouldn't be surprising. I really did awaken a divine-grade spiritual root. And that day at the bell-ringing ground, he seemed to be muttering something too. Could it be that this old man is the mouth of the head blessed? Because the Yanglin crystal shattered. The Yanglin conference thus came to an end. The other disciples followed their instructions, headed to the corresponding peak. Across the entire square, only me, the 3 princes, and Lin Qingxue were left. According to sect regulations, above the earth level, the spiritual root is found. He could become a disciple of Master Feng Qingchuan. The Great Silver was full and prosperous, and the ruler was Sima Ran. He accepted Sima Zun, who was of the same clan. The red leaves are abundant and abundant. He accepted the prince, young Master Oyak. Qin Haotian was captured by Zhao Qian, the master of the misty wind. The burning silver weathering mold wind master accepted the cold Lin Qingxue. The other 30+ wind lords had intense eyes. Everyone wants to take me, the destined child of the divine great Lin Zhen, as their disciple. Sect leader Li Xuanji quickly said he wanted to take me in. But Yi Qing interrupted him, who had already accepted a disciple. Additionally, Zhao Qian and Sima Ran were also competing fiercely for it. He said his path of cultivation was more suitable. The other 32 wind lords also gathered around. They all rushed to take me as their disciple. Yu Xiu Feng Feng said she wanted to call me brother. Master Lin Feng Feng promised me to choose any resources I wanted. Some female Feng Zhu even threw me a top-grade spiritual Aishou Mang sword directly. The other wealthy lords couldn't sit still at once. Someone sent out the 100 battles dragon collar armor that could block the attacks of fortune. There are even jade carvings from Song Taishan, namely, earth-grade treasures such as the chaos unmatched jade. The other disciples watched with red eyes. These Feng Zhu's disciples were left in tears. Sect Master Li Xuanji saw the situation and was about to lose control. He shouted that he wanted to bring out a heaven-grade gale treasure as a gift. Soon after, his marriage was exposed. The highest peak of Songmen began to shake violently. The earth and rocks collapsed, as if some treasure was about to break through the earth. Only then did the other lords of Feng quickly surrender. He advised him to stop. I watched as the precious treasure about to emerge was reclaimed. Her heart was full of disappointment. Li Xuanji is a cunning and sly old man. He actually made me apprentice under him empty-handed. I looked at the pile of earth-grade magical treasures in my hand. All I can do is shed tears in my eyes. He then performed the apprenticeship ceremony on the spot. After the show, the sect leader pardoned my master Li Changsheng's years. Out of respect for his contributions in raising me, he was also rewarded with a protector badge and 100 years salary. He turned around and didn't forget to remind the other Feng masters, don't tell anyone about me awakening a divine grade spiritual root. Finally, he lifted me and flew me to the highest peak, leaving behind a group of wealthy masters who lost their treasures but didn't receive their apprentices. His expression was bitter. He sighed helplessly. Sect leader Li Xuanxi wrapped around me. Fly to the highest peak. On the way, he introduced me to various aspects of the sect. Just as they passed by Huafeng, I smelled a special fragrance mixed in the floral scent. He immediately casually came out to greet him. A hidden sorrow and secret resentment arise from a single word. The sect leader praised me, saying I truly deserve to be the child of destiny. He actually understood what was on the mind of Master Huafeng. After reaching the highest peak of the sect, I finally saw the purple gold ancestor hanging atop the mountain. Light surrounds it, making them look incredibly glaring. The sect leader said this was a sacred relic left behind by the Grand Master. He already possessed the ability to capture the sensing prodigy of the desire to know, but previously, at most there were only the 3 sages of the Liberty people. But this is my exception. Yet the ancestors have sounded countless sacred rites. Right inside the Qingyun Grand Hall, the sect leader looked serious. Let me swear to the will of heaven, even if I later establish a Dao lineage, we must also protect Qingyun's sect thoroughly. Without hesitation, I saluted and accepted the test. In an instant, it felt as if fate had fallen into his brow. I understood this was the sound bound by fate. Then the sect leader's 2 fingers touched my heart. Sensing spiritual energy, the originally dark stone sea soon began to appear with points of light, densely lit up as if lit up. Soon, the Dantian also connected with the spiritual energy. After just a few dozen breaths, my whole body, forming a massive vortex of spiritual energy, wildly drawing in the surrounding spiritual energy and pouring it into my body. Without a doubt, I easily completed the inhalation of qi into my body, but when I tried to sense the purple qi next, I was at a loss and tried for a long time without finding a solution. However, just as I was at a loss for ideas and worries, I suddenly nodded in understanding, sensing the purple energy. What I didn't know was, Sect Master. Li Xuanji was staring at me nervously and expectantly. He could welcome me for the first time. Such a vast spiritual energy. He also recalled the earlier incident at Yangling Square, a scene where auspicious clouds stretch across 3,000 li. So he muttered to himself, I, a prodigy with a divine grade spiritual root. He wanted to sense the purple energy. It should be effortless. When water arrives, the channel is formed. Then, the purple clothes waterfall falls from the skyline of the highest peak, dyeing the clouds purple. The disciples of Qingyun sect all looked up to watch. 36 lords of Feng also ascended to the heavens. They were dumbfounded. It was already beyond words. You have to know, this is the purple qi eastward coming scripture, a sign of breaking through the second difficulty of the degree level. But this was what everyone saw beneath the highest peak. I clearly felt a massive amount of purple energy being drawn in. When he opened his eyes, he saw nothing inside the main hall. He even asked his master in confusion, did you see where the purple energy is? The sect leader also thought I hadn't sensed the purple energy. He comforted me that the first induction failure was perfectly normal. Back then, his first sensing took a whole day and night. Only then did he sense a faint trace of purple energy. Meanwhile, the highest peak was shrouded in a purple shadow. For 3,000 li, purple clouds stretched like the Milky Way. 3,000 miles of purple energy poured down like the Milky Way. All the disciples of Qingyun sect were alarmed. The 36 Feng lords thought the 4 sect leaders were crossing the tribulation. They all arrived with their divine weapons, and shouting loudly, he asked his disciples to assist him in the provinces. The sect leader immediately sensed the 36 streams outside. Spiritual power surged and fluctuated. I thought the various lords of the various factions were planning to rebel in the drama. When he flew out of the hall to ask questions, only then did he see the vast sea of clouds and purple mist. He immediately realized, I actually summoned purple aura to come eastward for 3,000 li. How could the child of destiny be so ordinary? It turned out his perspective was too narrow, but after turning around, he began to laugh wildly. Qingyun sect really did find a great treasure. The sect leaders were learning this. This is when I first joined the sect, and the results were completed in less than 2 hours. Everyone was eating and gasping in shock. As the Zi-Chi gradually faded, only then did they awkwardly leave after receiving the soldiers. Because the main hall was protected by formations, I couldn't hear anything outside at all, so it's unclear what exactly happened. After the sect leader returned to the main hall, mysteriously indicating that I don't need to make money. I've already succeeded in sensing Ziki's work. Afterwards, the sect leader asked me to settle at the Qilin Inn halfway up the mountain. He was about to hurry to repair the shattered Yangling crystal. I opened the storage pouch master had given me. He poured out all the treasures gifted by the Feng Lord. After each person played with and counted them, only then did he fall asleep peacefully. Early the next morning, go listen to the elder's sermon. The other disciples and Jinjiao, they were all hurrying along. I am leisurely and carefree, sitting with a certain senior uncle hurrying along. I am leisurely and carefree, sitting on a magical treasure gifted by a certain senior uncle. He sped away. He even took some time to check on a few of the Jinjiao girls. Why don't the sect give them walking artifacts? During Hongfeng's sermon, Simon Sun and young Master Ouyang Yang, because I had heard these basics long ago. This makes her seem distracted, looking left and right. He was thoroughly scolded by the so-called equal Hongfeng Lord. He also punished the two of them by facing the wall for 3 days without eating. Even if the sect's heavenly alliance came to him, you have to keep your head between your legs and live as a person. Unfortunately, because I got up too early in the morning, I actually started snoring in the old red award map. The other disciples wore expressions of anticipation. I had only just begun to cultivate traditional Chinese and Sima Zun. The two of them simply couldn't compete. If I were also punished by Lao Hong to face the wall for 3 days, he'd probably starve to death. This solemn-faced red celestial elephant is just a few words of detail on fingers. A silk quilt suddenly fell beside my deskmate. Help him cover it. Don't let him catch a cold. The whole world instantly fell silent. What a ceremony for fellow Hong Qianxiang. Sima Zun, who was also punished, couldn't help but question him. Why did he openly sleep without being punished? Hong Qianxiang said bluntly. He is the destiny child of Shenju. Twice in one day, it stirred up the world's whimsical imagination. Of course, they deserve special care. Sima Zun could only slunk back and face the wall to reflect. When I woke up, I was extremely embarrassed, afraid of being punished. He quickly said, actually, I wasn't sleeping soundly. Unexpectedly, Hong Qianxiang immediately announced the end of his mission. Let me go back and rest well, and keep an eye on my cultivation. Don't work too hard. After returning, I noticed that Master Li Changsheng was already waiting at the door. He pulled out a crumpled secretary booklet from the show. Give it to me. It was said to be the continuous divine skill he had treasured for decades. Then he reminded me again. Soon, other sects will come to pay respects and compete. I am the #1 heavenly sect within the sect. Most likely, he will be playing in battle. Although I am exceptionally gifted, but after all, he had only cultivated for a day. He had to hurry and learn some divine arts for self-defense, so they don't lose too badly. Early the next morning, I flew to the divine pavilion on Zixiao Peak, preparing to learn some magical arts for himself. But when they reached the entrance of the divine pavilion, I saw Lin Qingxue show her waist token behind it. Permission to enter. Only then did he realize he didn't have a waist tag. But the old man Xiao recognized me at a glance. He enthusiastically let me in, and allowed me to visit all the floors. I went straight to the 6th level, which concealed a heaven-grade divine ability. Here are 7 stone sculptures of various shapes. Just as I was about to take a closer look, some called out to the Lord. This man called himself Huang Dao. They say he was defeated by the sect Luo Shenfeng. He could be considered my senior brother. He enthusiastically introduced me to the stone sculpture before me. It is said that the heavenly divine power is hidden within the stone carving. You must resonate with it to begin cultivation. He even reminded me specifically, recklessly cultivating an unsuitable divine ability will damage your foundation. I stared at the dragon and tiger stone sculpture in the center, but the stone sculpture showed no sign of movement. Huang Dao told me, this is a top-grade dragon tiger statue. The power is extremely strong, but the risks are also enormous. The last disciple who failed in cultivation, not only did his realm plummet, even the quality of his spiritual roots had dropped from heavenly grade to earth. Hearing this, I decisively dodged this threat, falling from a heavenly grade to the ground. Hearing this, I decisively dodged this threatening creature. Then I realized, Qin Haotian and Lin Qingxue were also on the 6th floor. Qin Haotian had sat before the sun and moon universe stone sculpture for 2 long periods. It should be that he failed to resonate and got up. Lin Qingxue closed her eyes in front of the bird stone sculpture and sensed the situation. It seems there is a harvest. I chose the sun, moon, and universe stone carving that Qin Haotian had just tried. He sat down holding his breath. Be ready to try to resonate with it. Meanwhile, on the highest peak, Sect Master Li Xuanji and Luo Shenfeng advocated for Wuji to join forces. Discussions are being held about the outer hill ceremony. I learned I was behind the divine pavilion. The sect master suddenly remembered the matter of the dragon and tiger statue palace. The two hurried over, afraid I'd risk cultivating this dangerous divine ability. They arrived outside the divine pavilion. Huang Dao came out and told them that he chose the sun, moon, and universe path. Only then did the two of them breathe a sigh of relief. Zhong Wuji joked, besides the dragon and tiger statue palace, other divine powers cannot cause visions. This reassured Li Xuanji, but just as he finished speaking, a buzzing sound echoed from within the divine pavilion. An unusual wave of fluctuations began to spread. Originally, I was just sitting cross-legged in front of the sun and moon universe stone sculpture. He could feel the fluctuations within the stone carving synchronized with his own heartbeat. Logically, a single thought of the mind could grant divine powers, but I always feel it's not perfect. Therefore, they repeatedly sensed and explored, but he still hadn't grasped the profound mysteries. Qin Haotian stared at me intently from the side. He muttered to himself, a divine-grade spiritual root should be easy to sense successfully. But deep down, I actually hoped I would fail to resonate with it too. Just as I decided to settle for second best, I suddenly failed to resonate with the stone sculpture. Just as I decided to settle for second best, I suddenly formed a strong connection with stone sculptures. The stone carving contained vast divine powers. The silver dragon poured into my mind like a waterfall. As the stone sculpture trembled violently, it roared louder and louder. Qin Haotian and Lin Qingxue were immediately shocked, eyes widening in the pockets. His divine powers were extraordinary. Sect Master Li Xuanqi and the other two sensed this fluctuation. At the same time, the dots changed color. He immediately ordered the disciples to evacuate, reminding everyone the divine intent was to sabotage Li Zhiqiang. Hurry and dodge. As the disciples within the grid rapidly withdrew, Qin Haotian and Lin Qingxue also flew out one after another. turned to ashes. Li Xuanji and 4 others. Jelining left the capital. A phantom enveloped the divine power pavilion, but under the impact of the phenomenon, the phantom in the capital instantly stood upright. The highest fashion group hit 3 times in a row. This is the battle of supreme divine abilities manifesting in the world. 35 wind lords and 108 guardian members arrived, watching Qingyun sect be turned upside down. After the illusion of the Daoist temple of mountains and rivers, everyone was stunned. I am floating in the void. Divine power laws surged into his mind like rivers, but gradually, I was beyond my limits. The phenomenon of Yang breaking customs. The bright moon falls into the river. The chaos of heaven and earth about to erupt in danger. The Foam Lord sighed one after another. They think my advancement is too low. In the end, he would miss out on supreme divine abilities. But at that very moment, my master, Li Changsheng, stood in midair from the hair care team. He brushed past each other with his dual divine powers. But at that very moment, my master, Li Changsheng, stood in midair from the hair care team. He clenched his hands tightly and shouted, Lin Moheng, you definitely can. I believe in you. You will surely be able to hold the sun and moon in your hands. Rectify the universe. As soon as Li Changsheng finished speaking, I suddenly stood up. A mysterious force surged through his body. I gritted my teeth. Absorb all the laws of divine abilities. At this point, King Dao's mountains are broken and supported. The river water that had flowed back into the river flowed back. The upside-down world is restored. The shrunken sun and moon fly into my palm. The mountains beneath my feet lifted up to support my figure. I opened my eyes. Golden light flashed. He shouted loudly, holding the sun and moon in hand, plucking the stars. There is no one like me in this world. Its voice was like a yellow donkey, spread throughout the entire Qingyun building. As the phenomenon gradually contracted, merged into my body, beneath my feet, I touched the heaven and earth diagram, carrying me to the crowd. Sect Master Li Xuanji was overjoyed. Ask what reward I want. I think the power of the divine power I just gained from the truth is. Senior brother Huang Dao volunteered to join the camp. He even deliberately lowered his realm to the soul realm. I stepped on the heavenly heaven and earth Rui scepter. With both arms, I vainly report the map of heaven and earth, with the spiritual energy vortex flooding into his body wildly. The Qinkun map moves from the stone staff to the 100-fish staff. The terrifying warriors also began to suck blood everywhere. Huang Dao sensed something was wrong, trying to withdraw the suppression and retreat, but I already saw it on the strings. The Qinkun diagram, which had summoned the 100-fish staff, crashed down at him with a thunderous crash, shouting, Senior brother, don't run. Senior brother Huang Dao retreated. At the same time, he lifted the suppression of his strength. He instantly restored his peak primordial spirit realm aura. Senior brother Huang Dao retreated. At the same time, he lifted the suppression of his strength. He instantly restored his peak primordial spirit realm aura. He thought this would be enough to withstand the attack. But in the next moment, the Qinkun diagram had already crashed down on him. At a critical moment, the sect leader made his move. Only then did the power of the Qinkun diagram be dispersed. It neutralized the fluctuations in spiritual power. After the dust and smoke cleared, I was a bit disappointed to see Huang Dao completely unharmed. The power of so-called supreme divine abilities. It was just SOSO. Other disciples who heard my words. He burst into loud sobs. I'm a newcomer who has only been cultivating for 3 days. He was actually able to force back a peak Genshin realm expert. This made them feel like useless. Sect leader Li Xuanji praised my performance highly. Only then did everyone return to cultivate on their own. After returning to the Qilin store, I just laid down to rest. Then I heard someone calling me on the phone. I opened the door and saw that I didn't recognize the newcomer. After questioning, I learned he was 30 years ago. Senior brother Liu Yuan, who was selected to join Qingyun sect. At this moment, Yulin was already an inner disciple entering the small city. This time, I came. He wants me to help me get a 3rd level Danjing book across generations from Danjing. He had been stuck at the level 3 alchemist status for quite some time, but because he didn't have enough contribution points, he entered the upper tier of a single slot. Cannot obtain the corresponding level 3 single gold. Seeing that I agreed without hesitation, senior brother Liu Yuan smiled and praised me. So I don't hate your extraordinary talent. His cultivation speed was absolutely advancing by leaps and bounds. Maybe he broke through without even realizing it. As soon as he finished speaking, I immediately felt that something was still off, especially his own single field. Old friends begin to feel restless, but the next moment, everything calmed down again. I told senior brother Liu Yuan to wait here for me. He immediately flew to Lingyao Peak, where Danjin Pavilion was located. The first elderly man saw me as soon as he saw me. Without another word, he put it down. There's absolutely no need to look at the waste badge or deduct contribution points. I first watched a basic alchemy film on the first floor. At first, I couldn't understand it, but the surrounding disciples could be heard murmuring among themselves. I can appreciate it just by looking casually. Looking at Danjing again, I suddenly understood. I quickly finished watching the basic film and went up to the 2nd floor. I still quickly understood the pill essence on the 2nd floor. Then he stopped and ascended the 3rd tower. But he happened to see Lin Qingxue sitting in the corner, flipping through the 3rd level alchemy essence. He furrowed his brows tightly. There seemed to be quite a bit of confusion. I picked up a level 3 alchemy book, From Beginner to Master. He quickly grasped the mysteries within. He also casually found Liu Yuanya's level 3 alchemy technique. Looking back, he saw Lin Qingxue still flipping through the pill essence from that night. Even after a moment, he still seemed completely lost. I kindly stepped forward to ask. Lin Qingxue asked me coldly, "Why do you call me junior sister? They might not be my match. I'm more like your senior sister," I said with a smile. The literary way has its precedents. Is it true that the hitter is a teacher? I also know a bit about alchemy myself. Perhaps it can answer questions he has had during his studies. Who knows? Lin Qingxue handed me the pill essence with a look of unhappiness. After a quick glance, I immediately began explaining yin-yang harmony to him. The principle of combining firmness and gentleness. Not only did Lin Qingxue suddenly realize something, even the sect disciples who were auditing. Some people instantly had an epiphany and were overjoyed. Lin Qingxue was also impressed by my erudition. I was also deeply impressed by my erudition, but I absolutely refused to give up and become my junior sister. He pushed me away directly, flying away through the window. After picking up a few books of Danjin, I returned to the 70s store. He handed the third level Dan gold to Lu Yuan. The other party was overjoyed. He quickly thanked him and left, and I was paying a gold to block Lin Qingxue. For some reason, gossip quickly spread within the sect. Sometimes we would play the piano and joke around. Sometimes the two of us would just close the heads of the piano. Anyway, the more the rumors spread, the more absurd it became. It made me sneeze 3 times in a row at home. I thought someone was complimenting me for being handsome. I had no idea I had become the sect's latest gossip center. Of course, since some people think Lin Qingxue and I are both talented and beautiful, perfectly matched together, some people were saddened by Lin Qingxue's involvement with Zhu Gong. At this moment, Lin Qingxue on the whistle wind was dangerous and exploded during pill refining. Not only did he recall the method of yin-yang harmony I taught at Danjin Pavilion, he adjusted it as I said. He actually succeeded in refining the pill. Sai Yi's disciple was delivering food to him. He mentioned the comments outside. He interrupted her coldly, but unexpectedly, Feng Zhuhua didn't notice this scene. He mistakenly believed that all the comments circulating outside were true. He dared to go to the highest peak overnight to discuss with the sect master. Actually, at this moment, Qingyun the shop owner, the other 35 wind lords had all gathered. It was during the discussion about me and Lin Qingxue. Before the message arrived, it was confirmed that those rumors were actually true, just as everyone was getting excited. But he heard that Lin Qingxue practiced the cool and aloof path. If it were that much, it would destroy the foundation. So I decided to have the sect leader go and remind me. Not necessary. I must have the sect master go and remind me. No need to pay attention. At this moment, He was flipping through the elixir in the Qilin Hall, but unexpectedly, Lin Qingxue suddenly came to visit. He gave me a white jade sacred curtain that opens once every 50 years. He said it was because I was the one who guided him to Danjin. I planned to take it casually, but he never thought to suddenly come out of nowhere. In the blink of an eye, this beam flower transformed into a stream of light and pierced into my body. In an instant, I felt my spiritual energy circulating nearly a step faster. Lin Qingxue was deeply impressed by my cultivation speed. No movement at all. Never would have expected, but at that moment, the sect leader and the Feng family pushed open the door and entered, seeing us hand in hand. I mistakenly thought our relationship was truly extraordinary. He hurriedly left. Naturally, Lin Qingxue didn't want to stay any longer. Before leaving, she emphasized that without the ranking tournament, she wouldn't be considered my junior sister. Then he left gracefully, but her figure leaving me was seen by the other disciples. The rumors outside grew increasingly absurd. Some even say we will marry Fengzi. Late at night, the sect master came alone to see me. He specifically asked about my relationship with Lin Qingxue. I explained, half amused and half crying. He had only advised the other party to worry. There was no other connection. Only then did the sect master understand. It turned out to be a misunderstanding. Meanwhile, Lin Qingxue was also trying her best to clarify things with the Shaoyin Wind Master. He even worried that his own integrity would be damaged. He decided to clear up the rumors through a duel. Early the next morning, I'm cultivating at Fengding. Lin Qingxue suddenly flew over, pulled a baton and point at me, and deliberately spoke loudly. He attracted disciples around him to become officials. Sure enough, the sect disciples began to discuss among themselves. Some people think love turns into hate. Discussions began to spread among themselves. Some people think love turns into hate. Some even called me a scumbag. Those female disciples were even more furious, wanting to come and beat me up. During this time, several disciples from Danjin Pavilion wanted to arrange a marriage for me, but no one believed it at all. I was about to close my eyes and let Lin Qingxue get angry. Of course, I would never let anyone know. I wore the 100 Battles Dragon scale armor close to my body. Fortunately, Sect Master Li Xuanji arrived just in time. I publicly clarified all the misunderstandings between Lin Qingxue and me. He not only dispersed the onlookers but he also ordered the disciples spreading rumors to be punished, and voluntarily left the Hall of Punishment to accept punishment. After Lin Qingxue calmed down, ashamed, I left. Afterwards, the sect leader took me to the Qingyun Hall. He told me that tomorrow all the major sects would come to pay respects to the mountain. Originally, it was planned that Qin Haotian and Lin Qingxue would step in, but unfortunately, among the myriad swords, a sword prodigy will emerge from the sky. That's why I, the prodigy, have to step in and hold the line. But to avoid exposing my identity as a divine-grade spiritual root, the sect leader gave me a sky-covering mirror. It is said that this mirror can shield the divine presence below the creation mirror. Meanwhile, at the foot of the highest peak, my senior brother Lu Yuan is working hard to refine his alchemy. He only learned the first 5 pages of the level 3 pill essence I helped him develop. He felt certain he could refine a 3rd grade pill. After a busy while, the furnace finally began to vibrate and smoke. When the dust settled, a wood spirit pill was finally refined by him as he wished. Lu Yuan was instantly overjoyed. Ha ha. Don't hate, junior brother. Great kindness goes without words. Wishing you great progress in your cultivation. His realm advanced by leaps and bounds. There is nothing to do about this. Cultivation advances by 1,000 miles in a single day. His realm advanced by leaps and bounds. I know nothing about this. He was in a hurry to find out houses everywhere inside the Qilin shop, because he searched all over the main hall but couldn't find it. He had no choice but to fly down the mountain. He planned to borrow it from senior brother Lu Lu Yuan at the foot of the mountain. Unexpectedly, he suddenly felt a flutter in his dantian. Ziki Dong Lei Jin actually accelerated its operation automatically. The endless flow of spiritual energy surged like a river. If nothing unexpected happens, he was about to break through at this moment. Helpless, I sat cross-legged. Form hand seals with both hands. With each breath, the breath rose higher and higher. Ziki gradually spread out as well. Heavenly Qi is supreme. A large white cloud was quickly dyed golden. Within it lies supreme thunderous power. Sensing the fluctuations in spiritual energy, the sect leader quickly ascended and arrived. When it was discovered that I was the one breaking through, his face was instantly filled with shock. A breakthrough in a small spirit communication realm. It actually managed to attract Lei Jie. Not to mention within the sect, even in the cultivation world, he had never heard of it. Soon after, 36 Fengshu and countless disciples arrived one after another. They all nervously watched me sitting cross-legged beneath the thunderclouds. Honestly, I was so nervous inside. It wasn't that he feared Lei Jie's power. It was because he was truly desperate to do so. Just put it in your pocket. The blazing thunder before his eyes did not even fall. I couldn't help but hug and offer a congratulations. Thunder arrives. In an instant, golden light and thunder descended in response. It struck me. He immediately awakened the 100 battles dragon scale armor I was wearing close to my body. In the next moment, the golden dragon phantom appeared. The sound of dragons and hawks echoed throughout. It firmly blocked Rage's power. I took the opportunity to inhale spiritual energy wildly. This made his aura look 3 times higher. In an instant, his realm reached the spirit communication realm. Then I raised my hand to push it. Looks 3 times higher. In an instant, his realm reached the spirit communication realm. Then I raised my hand to push the Qianquan diagram. He smashed Reach to pieces, and a trace of heavenly cleanliness quietly appeared on my brow. I broke through just finished me. I could no longer hold back my urgent needs. Stepping onto the heaven and earth map, it flew straight toward the foot of the mountain. The travelers at the foot of the mountain thought I was feeling down because my breakthrough was below expectations. He greeted him with a face full of comfort, but I rushed straight past him and rushed inside, shouting, and requested to use a latrine. Sect Master Li Xuanji made up her mind. You must build me a private outhouse next to the Qilin Hall. Early the next morning, Qingyan Sect's martial arena begins with a life of hardship. As the sect's grand formation activated, elites from Baixiang Mountain, Tianyu Sect, and other sects who had good relations with them gradually flew in. Finally, the prodigies of the 100 Flowers Sect and the 10,000 Sword Sect also descended from the sky. The battle in battle was exhausting. He Wook of the 100 Flowers Sect stepped on a green lotus, holding a folding fan in hand. The chilling sword energy of the 10,000 Sword Sect swirled around. His expression was unreadable. These two showed no respect whatsoever to Sect Master Li Xuanji or the other Wind Masters. Everyone in Yin couldn't help but voice their dissatisfaction. At that moment, the highest fan needs golden light. I tread upon the heaven and earth diagram, holding a jade fan for 1,000 sacrifices. Needle dragon wire sweeps across the arena. Ying amazed the entire audience. After the mountain worship ceremony began, Sima Zun and Zhao Feiyan fought to a draw. Lin Jingxue defeated the ordinary with 5 moves of her cold sword energy. Qin Hao's balanced dominance dragon fist won. In the end, only He Wook and I remained, and the Qilin hadn't made a move. The two locked onto it with their divine senses, but I was blocked by the sky-covering mirror. Qilin was the first to jump out and provoke. I struck him with an arrow. Both locked onto their divine senses, but I was blocked by the sky-covering mirror. Qilin was the first to jump out and provoke. He was defeated by a single arrow from me. After seeing the Qilin suffer a crushing defeat, He Wook, sweat bead in his palms, yet he still refused to back down. Immediately displayed the 100-flower pine. The celestial balanced divine powers 3,000 lotus leaf images. Above her head, bright lines and green lotus flowers bloom. Because I had consumed too much spiritual power before, so he raised his horn and directly exposed him. Your divine power may be fierce, stepping down to the empty space. If I occupy your feet, you will have no strength to resist. After saying that, I turned around directly, deliberately leaving behind a mysterious silhouette. He Wook was utterly shocked at this moment. Those 3,000 night-long incense. Indeed, the only thing that couldn't be guarded beneath her feet was the only one she had. He knew very well that he absolutely couldn't block my sword energy. He could only hang his head and disperse his divine power, and was defeated without a fight. No doubt about it. I firmly secured the reputation of the first heavenly sect. After the worship ceremony ended, the tradition of the sect's grand worship has been continued. The sect leader suggested I compose a poem. Everyone turned their heads to look. Even Ling Jingxue cast curious glances. Helplessly, I could only get up and recite it. There will be times when the long wind breaks the waves, hanging straight through the clouds, crossing the vast sea. Unexpectedly, just as the poem fell, and immediately heard it soaring to the heavens. Gongsun Han, the pavilion master of Wensu Pavilion, Feisheng rushed over to investigate. A vast surge of wealth descended from the horizon, accompanying the poetic lines of the Great Way's enchanting sound, covering me through the roof. I never expected the poem I would casually recite. It actually attracted Wen Dao's recognition, even after hundreds of years, and requested one master of the Gongsun Pavilion. Even Qingyun sect, which had heard of the righteous path, had never seen such a scene. The Daoist fortune spread throughout the Qingyun sect. This drew the resonance of the statues of the various philosophers and schools of thought from the Wensu Pavilion. A large number of literary talents surged out from among them. This drew the resonance of the statues of the various philosophers and schools of thought from the Wensu Pavilion. A large amount of literary Dao surged forth, gathering into beams of light, turning into a ball of light before me, revealing a set of 4 treasures of the study. I took up my brush and wrote the lines of the farewell poem on paper. The 4 treasures of literature and Dao instantly transformed into imprints and merged into my palm. After the feast ended, I went to the Taizhen Feng Wenk Pavilion to pay my respects to Gongsun Han. Let's get to know first. Gongsun Han sighed. Wen Dao was lonely, too sharp and too too desolate. I shook my head in protest, stated, in conversation and laughter, there are red scholars. There are no white nails coming and going. True comradeship is not about quantity, but in seeking the way with a sincere heart. These words instantly made Gongsun Han's expression brighten. Laughing heartily, behind me, a literary and detailed light quietly emerged. The phantom of the four treasures of literature and Tao shone brilliantly. Gongsun Han was guided by me. Dance in an instant. A dark halo arose behind him. One is the click phantom. Holding him up, the bamboo 100 school statue shook violently once again. Sky-piercing beams tear through the clouds. Pure light pours down across the sky. Wen Dao's talent poured out once again. But this time, the main character, it was replaced by Gongsun Han. The entire clan witnessed it together. Gongsun Han broke through to the realm of Wen Dao Zhenren. After landing, Gongsun Han cupped his hands in thanks. I admit it was my advice. Let him break through years of naivety. He then earnestly invited me to participate. 3 months later, Wen Dao Immortal held a grand feast. After all, Qingyun's sect hadn't participated in nearly 300 years. If no one goes further, the sage will no longer come to the sect to preach. I couldn't bear to refuse. He could only nod in agreement. When he returned to the Qilin Hall, Sect Master Li Xuanji had already been waiting here. He personally presented it to me. Dozens of rare treasures. As a reward. And silently calculated in his mind, entrust me with an important piece of knowledge. After the proud heavens bow to the mountain, life at Qingyun sect became rather ordinary. I get up early every morning to practice, lunch at noon. In the afternoon, I continue cultivating, or just stroll around the vast Qingyun sect. He went to various cultivation venues to take a look, relax and unwind. 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. On this day, Sect Master Li Xuanji said with a grave expression, he summoned me to the Qingyun Grand Hall. I only found out after I arrived. It turned out that the Grand Elder Zhong Tianxia of Qingyun sect was the Celestial Master. That is, the sect leader and the master of Lin Yaofeng, the master of Yao Chen. It was already time for the last light to return to Zhao. If he couldn't refine the 9-turn profound life pill again, he was about to paint. Yao Chen is Master Lin Yaofeng. His alchemy skills are considered the best in the sect, but he had already tried several times to refine the 9-turn profound life pill. Every time, they fail at the last moment. Li Xuanji also sent a message to the Divine Continent Emperor. News of the treasure offering a bounty on the 9-turn Xiancheng pill. But how precious a supreme pill is. For a while, no one could practice at all. For a moment, discussions were abuzz from inside the gate. But as the rumors spread, they changed their nature. It wasn't news from any disciple's mouth. It turned into senior brother Lu Yuan dying soon. When I was listening to the servant disciples at the Qilin shop talk about this, he slammed the table and stood up. What? Senior brother Lu Yuan is dying soon. Poor senior brother Lu Yuan. He was clearly a kind person. Truly. Good people have short lives. I couldn't help but feel sorrow from my heart. Just then, Li Xuanji's voice sounded in my ear. Lin Moheng, come to see me. I arrived at Qingyun Grand Hall with a sorrowful heart. Li Xuanji was troubled by the matter concerning Master Zhong. His expression was grave. I sighed inwardly. Master. His breath was sorrowful. Li Xuanji glanced at me. How could I know about Master Zhong when I suppressed myself? It seemed perhaps some phone lord chatted with him. It was accidentally revealed. Time is already working hard. Hopefully, good news will come. You don't need to worry. Your advisor is naturally extravagant. He is more open-minded than we are. Li Xuanji seemed to be comforting himself. That's good. In a while, I'll go see Master Lu Yuan and the others. Advisor. I couldn't help but raise my eyebrows. Lu Yuan. Li Xuanji was stunned. After some conversation, I finally understood. It turned out to be a huge blunder. Senior brother Lu Yuan is perfectly fine. Truly on the brink of death. It was my former advisor, Master Zhong. Li Xuanji sighed. Then he gave another important task. He said 1 month later, the ruins left by the powerful void warriors from 10,000 years ago are about to open. All the major sects are sending disciples there. Originally, Lu Yuan was the best candidate to enter the ruins, but he was already on the verge of breaking through the creation mirror, and it is inconvenient to proceed. Others who went into seclusion at Jietian Jiejiao, going out. Only Lin Qingxue and I can be there. Jin Haotian and the others walked for a while. After I stamped it, I took my leave. After leaving the Qingming Hall, I was worried about the advisor's condition. Although I had never met Master Zhong before, but after all, he was the master's master, both emotionally and reasonably. I can't stand by and do nothing. Logically, I couldn't just stand by and watch. But the 9-turn profound life pill is a top-grade pill. Even the medicine dust ceiling master couldn't be cultivated. What could a newcomer like me, who had only joined the sect for half a month, possibly do? I was fighting back and forth in the Qilin shop. The more he thought about it, the more unwilling he felt. Although I haven't met the advisor, but he is the master's master. He is the sect master's mentor. If he just says so, master must be heartbroken. The sect leader must be heartbroken. And to be selfish, if Master Zhong had refined the 9-turn profound life pill, restoring strength, Qingyun sect now has a quasi-void exhaust expert. This was for the entire sect. What this means is self-evident. I wish to surrender. I decided to go to Danjin Pavilion and take a look first, even if it couldn't help. At the very least, learn about the 9-turn profound life pill. What exactly is it? What clues might I find? I flew straight to Danjin Pavilion. A foundation was already laid here before. The old man knows what I have seen in the first song. As usual, they let them through without even checking the waste token. This time, my goal is clear, heading straight for the 4th floor. The 4th floor is completely different from the first 3. All of them were mysterious pill recipes and pill refining shortcuts. There are also many annotations by predecessors. These annotations are highly suspicious for readers. After all, alchemy has reached this level. It all depends on understanding the way of alchemy. What I'm looking for is a pill recipe that can boost boost my strength. He quickly memorized the gathering pill, Diyuan Dan, filing pill and other spirit grade pill recipes. Each pill recipe can help those below the Jade Spirit realm improve their realm by refining their realms, and it won't cause a weak foundation. On the last night of moving to the Dan realm, a single party caught my attention. Xian gives birth to Cinnabar. It was written indirectly. Above the Xiancheng pill, there is also a single one. It was written indirectly. There are 3 grades above the Xiancheng pill. First rebirth, third refinement, ninth rebirth, corresponding to earth grade, heavenly grade, and supreme grade. Ordinary Xiancheng pills can remove death energy, the effect of replenishing vitality, but only wishing to approach below first. If you want to defy fate and prolong your life for the mighty Du Jie, he still needed the 9-turn profound life pill. I also noted down the prescription for the Xiancheng pill. He thought maybe he'd need it in the future. However, what I didn't know was, I was flipping through the Xiancheng pill recipe on the 4th level. The other disciples had already noticed it. The news is spreading like it has grown wings. It spread rapidly throughout the entire sect. Lin Mohang at Danjin Pavilion. After looking at the single recipe for the Xiancheng pill, combined with the sect's treasured treasures, news of the bounty on the 9-turn Xiancheng pill, and senior brother Lu Yuan from before, rumors about dying, the brains of the chestnuts. It's practically like writing a storybook. Lin Mohang wanted to be senior brother Lu Yuan, refine the 9-turn mysterious life pill. Rumors spread rapidly, and the more the rumors spread, the more absurd it became. 9-fold profound life elixir. He actually dared to challenge such a thing. I have no idea. Once again, she became the center of attention. After leaving Danjin Pavilion, I'm going to the Danjin Hall to find Uncle Yao Chen. Yao Chen was deeply pondering at the alchemy market, the method for refining the 9-turn profound life pill. Come out and meet me after hearing my voice. I don't seem shameless. He only said he was interested in alchemy. Together we asked for a single alchemy furnace. Yao Chen's eyes lit up. He immediately gave me a ground-grade alchemy furnace called Longfeng Peak. 3 true dragons circled above the furnace roof. 3 phoenixes slashed and soared high. Listening carefully, the sound of dragons, silver, and phoenixes could be heard. I happily put away the alchemy furnace. Then he took his leave and departed. Yao Chen's eldest disciple, Yao Hong. He put away the alchemy furnace. Then he took his leave and departed. Yao Chen's eldest disciple, Yao Hong, arrived shortly after. He shared the message left by the sect with his master. Yao Chen Wenyang was utterly shocked. Lin Mohang actually wanted to refine the 9-turn profound life pill. A complex mix of emotions surged in his heart. There is misfortune, but also hope, and a touch of emotion. Then I went to Beiko Tang. He sought out the Hall Master Li Guangsai to fetch the medicinal herbs. I handed one to Li Guangsai. A note was written about gathering all the medicinal ingredients, but the grey-haired Hall Master didn't even look at him. In his heart, you don't even need to see for yourself. Lin Mohang understood. He was supposed to refine the 9-turn profound life pill. The herbs needed for this pill. He was very familiar with it. In the past few days, he had sent medicine to the Fengzhu several times. All of it is remembered in my heart. As for why only one portion of medicinal herbs is needed, probably because they were afraid of having too many water bottles. If it's not enough, you can't train it. Waste of materials. So Li Guangsai didn't hesitate to go up to the 6th level. He took out a spatial pouch. He took the ingredients for the 9-turn profound life pill. He packed everything in at once. Go downstairs and hand it over to me. I weighed the Qingquan pouch in my hand. He smiled broadly and took his leave. He had no idea that the herbs had been stolen and swapped out for a while. Back at the Chilean store, I found a room suitable for alchemy. Set up the dragon and phoenix summit properly. He snapped his fingers. The spiritual energy transformed into flames and flew to the bottom of the furnace. Before the stove was fully heated, I count the medicinal herbs. At first glance, something was clearly wrong. How could Qin Xuanye be 800 years old? How can this flower still glow? Why does the 3-leaf geocentric flower have an extra leaf? There were also 2 herbs she had never seen before. A moment later, I slapped my thigh. He must have mixed up the 2 single prescriptions. These are the materials needed to refine the chi pill. Master Li gave him a good vintage, so I interpreted it as I like. Materials for practicing drama and singing the list. Master Li gave him a good vintage, so I started training according to the steps I understood. Outside the shop, Li Xuanji and Yao Chen had already arrived, temporarily sweeping the shop, nervously monitoring my every move. Halfway up the mountain, Lu Yuan and Li Changsheng also arrived. A large group of onlookers gathered around. Lu Yuan had no idea he had been rumored to be the ice dead. They were also eagerly watching the commotion. Li Changsheng looked proud. He looked nervous again. He planned to gather so many top-grade pills for his own plans. To say I'm not anxious or nervous would be a lie. The first medicinal herb in the shop was in the oven. The potency of the medicine was far beyond imagination. After 800 years of Qinxian liquid transformed into branches and leaves, the medicinal power released was like a raging flood and a beast. Long Fengding shook violently, almost knocked off the stove lid. I cursed under my breath. Quickly mobilize all your spiritual energy to adjust the flames. Fortunately, at the critical moment, his thoughts became clear. I found a way to channel the medicinal power. Channel the excess medicinal power through the 3 dragon vents. The alchemy furnace finally stabilized. Next, medicinal herbs were put into plant. The process clearly shows signs of revival. Every time, I thought the furnace was about to explode. Each time, they turned danger into one at the last moment. That feeling, it was as if an invisible hand was pulling the blade. It allows me to always find a way out in desperate situations. Observe with Xuanji and Yao Chen when facing outside. Seeing that I was actually refining smoothly, an unbelievable anticipation gradually appeared in his eyes. Yao Chen was so excited that he was trembling all over. He knew all too well how difficult it was to refine the 9-turn profound life pill. Every step could mean all your efforts could be wasted. But Lin Mohang, a newcomer who had been in the sect less than half a month ago, had actually left step by step. Come here. When the new red vitality of the 8th Brigade flew out from the alchemy furnace, the soaring red light illuminated half the horizon, shining brightly. Chen almost shouted out loud, 8 turns complete, just one step away. Li Xuanji's heart was pounding in his throat. The 9th transformation is the most perilous step, fusing the vitality energy of the first 8 brigades to bear it. A slight mistake would exhaust all previous efforts. If you abandon it, the backlash will also severely injure the alchemist. Yao Chen had failed so many times. All of them were defeated in this final hurdle. When my spiritual energy was exhausted, Li Xuanji and Yao Chen struck simultaneously. 2 beams of warm light, descending from the sky, enveloping me. The previously scarce spiritual energy instantly surged away. With the spiritual energy support of these 2 powerful figures, I pressed on with all my strength. Combine all the night of spiritual herbs and the energy of vitality together. Undertake it. Crimson pill broke through the bottom line. A streak of star-red light shot straight up to the heavens. Red light great sage, illuminating the entire sky. The energy of life filled the entire Qingyun sect. All the disciples took a deep breath and felt completely at ease. It was as if his lifespan had increased a bit. You have to widen your eyes wide. The expression on his face shifted from shock to ecstasy. He blurted out, 9-fold profound life elixir. It worked. The aged figure of Master Zhong, appearing out of thin air at the horizon. He shakily stretched out his withered, aged hands. He held the pill in his palm as if holding a precious treasure. On the pill and the Hunyuan plane, 9 new red fine lines are tattooed. It contains endless vitality. 9-fold profound life elixir. It seems the heavens do not notice aging. Master Zhong's laughter echoed throughout the sky. Echo, 9-fold profound life elixir. It seems the heavens do not notice aging. Master Zhong's laughter echoed throughout the sky, echoing among every mountain peak. I looked through the big hole in the roof. Watching all this, he looked completely confused. 9-fold profound life elixir. Got it wrong? I'm practicing the gathering pill. But then he reconsidered. No wonder there were 2 more medicinal herbs. So the Hall Master brought it for me. It was the material for the 9-turn profound life pill. Good girl. They really think highly of me. You even dare to take the ingredients for top-grade pills. Fortunately, I am naturally intelligent. I can't really explain that this was a misunderstanding. Then he clasped his hands in fists, although the advisor and the disciple had never met in person. But the kindness of his master's teaching, no doubt about it. Master's kindness to me is as great as a mountain. Then to your master. The disciple naturally respects and loves him deeply. After a few words, Li Xuanji and the other Feng Zhu, I was almost moved to tears. Master Zhong looked at me. The old man's eyes were full of joy. He was fond of his disciples and grandsons. Go ahead. What kind of reward do you want? I thought about it. I want to elevate my realm. I wonder what method the advisor has. Master Zhong nodded approvingly. Ku Lao squeezed the void with his palm. A golden pill appeared out of thin air. The primordial creation elixir. Heaven-grade pills. The medicinal power is gentle and the soul is gentle. Enough to sustain my spiritual energy until I break through. In addition, he gently spat out a mouthful of golden blood from his tongue, dotted on my forehead. This golden blood can block it for me. A powerful strike from a tribulation-crossing difficulty expert, but it can only be used once. Unwillingly accepted. Sincerely clasping my fists in thanks, Master Zhong then returned to hunt and refine the 9-turn profound life pill. Li Xuanji laughed wildly. Qingyun sect not only gained a top-tier alchemist after Master Zhong refined the pill, and will become a false mustache that exhausts all its strength. The strength of the sect is like water controlling the ship. Only then did the disciples halfway up the mountain realize. It turned out the 9-turn profound life pill was meant for the Grand Elder, not for senior brother Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan was in seclusion with the falling spirit seal. He sneezed several times in a row. He thought he was about to lose control. After that day, I swallowed the Tianyuan creation golden pill. It felt like the medicinal power in my body was strong and gentle. Like a gentle river, it flows slowly through the meridians. Then, under the nourishment of medicinal power, it steadily climbed. Several more days passed. Lu Yuan came out of seclusion to find me. She smiled and asked if I was interested in creating my own single prescription recipe. I haven't had time to answer. A thunderous roar shook the heavens and earth. Suddenly, a voice came from outside the sect's grand formation. The entire Qingyunzong trembled violently. The wine jug on the table overturned. The spirit wine spilled all over the ground. In the distance, rubble from several small peaks tumbled down. Seeing the dust fill the sky, Lu Yuan and I looked up at the same time. He saw the sect at the heavenly limit. A pitch-black crack was being torn open. At first, the crack was only about an inch long, yet it expands at a speed visible to the naked eye. It was as if there was some terrifying presence. He was using brute force to tear open space from another section of the fissure. Thick, almost tangible demonic energy surged from the crack. Like thousands of black snakes, it spread out in all directions. Wherever the demonic energy passed, flowers and grass withered. The spiritual energy was completely devoured. Even the air was thick with the scent of decay and death. The ancestors did not understand their own thoughts, but the sound was not the auspicious sound from before. Instead, it was a sharp, urgent alarm bell. 1, 2, 3. He imagined 9 full sounds. Since the time of Qingyun sect and Xianzong, the 9 auspicious ancestors only appeared once 10,000 years ago when the Grand Master Ancestor resisted the demon invasion. Lu Yuan's face instantly turned deathly pale. My heart sank. The story of the Grand Preceptor Ancestor resisting the demon race 10,000 years ago. I've read about it in the sect texts. That battle shook the heavens and earth. The Grand Master single-handedly repelled the demon army. In the end, at the age of 5, he passed away into the void. But the Grand Master was already gone. Who now will resist? The demon race is the demon race. The demon race is attacking. Terrified shouts echoed from every mountain peak within the sect. The Foam Lord and the Guardians ascended one after another. The disciples also rushed anxiously toward their respective heads. Fear spread through the sect like a plague. Many disciples with low cultivation had already turned pale. Some even collapsed to the ground from greed. I set foot on the heaven and earth map and saw to the highest peak. From afar, they saw the sect leader Li Xuanji already standing in midair. His expression was more serious than ever. A golden array faintly appeared around him. Vast spiritual energy spread outward like the mountain moon. 36 wind lords lined up behind him. Spiritual energy rippled up and fell one after another. Hong Qianqiang wielded the 8-direction thunder hammer. Medicinal dust carries the purple gold gourd on its back. The night is clear, green in the palm. The long night saw the buzzing and vibration. Zhao Qian's fists wrapped around the fierce blue wind. Everyone was on high alert. The atmosphere was extremely tense. The fissure grew ever more severe, and the clouds grew ever heavier. The crack grew larger the more it died. It was as if there was something. It is being squeezed in from another world. Finally, a figure slowly stepped out from the crack. It was a middle-aged man clad in black armor. His features were surprisingly handsome. His features were deep and deep, as if cut by a knife, and he was restless. But those pupils were the blood-red resin. There was a pitch-black magic pattern in the center of his forehead. Bloodline Demon Lord. Li Xuanji congratulated softly. I saw his fists trembling slightly. Bloodline Demon Lord. I've seen this name in the sect records. One of the 3 great revered figures of the demon clan. Cultivation, Dujie, peak powerhouse. Just one step away from the 5-year-old void. 5,000 years ago, he was sealed by the righteous alliance within the bloodline. How could it break through the wind at this moment? The younger generation of Qingyun sect. The bloodline demon lord's voice was like thousands of lost souls whispering. All disciples whose cultivation was below the creation mirror turned pale on the spot. Some even faint outright. He looked around. A bloodthirsty smile curled at the corner of his mouth. It's been 5,000 years. I finally saw the sunlight again. With every word he spoke, the surrounding demonic energy thickened further. The sky began to darken. And your Qingyun sect. It was right after I broke through the wind. The first place to be leveled. Li Xuanji took a step forward. The vast spiritual energy was like the mountain moon, pressing down on the bloodline demon lord. Bloodline. How could your seal ever be broken? The bloodline demon lord chuckled. The seal had fallen into disrepair over the years. I spent 5,000 years slowly eating away. Today, it finally took 5,000 years to slowly erode it. Today, I have finally gained freedom. Where are the old guys from Qingyun sect who participated in the sealing back then? Why didn't you come out to see me? Oh, right. They have probably long since turned into a handful of yellow earth. Before he finished speaking, it was the bloodline demon lord who suddenly made a move. A mass of pitch-black demonic energy condensed into the drama leader, carrying a world-shattering momentum, thundered toward Qingyun sect. Even under the drama length, space is distorted. The light was completely swallowed away. Li Xuanji shouted angrily. Form hand seals with both hands. The golden formation condensed and met the palm forward. The earth-shattering collision echoed through the sky. The shock wave spreads in all directions from the point of impact. The ancient tree on the highest peak was uprooted. The tree base was shattered in the fish waves. Li Xuanji was shaken so hard he was sent flying backward, swinging his staff. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth, but at least he managed to block the attack. 36 wind lords ascended into the air. Hong Qianqiang let out a furious roar. The 8-directional thunder hammer burst forth with 10,000 bolts of lightning. The medicine dust purple gold gourd spewed out a swirling poisonous mist. Green leaves, long swords, turn into a rain of swords across the sky. The steel peaks of Zhao Qian's fists tore through the sky. 6 streams of light weaved together into a magnificent web of light. He shone toward the bloodline demon lord. The bloodline demon lord merely snorted coldly. He didn't even lift his eyelids. He casually raised his right hand. Demonic energy gathered into a massive black blade, 100 zhong long. A sharp crack echoed through the air. The light net was instantly torn to shreds, like half fragile in paper. The 36 wind lords were blasted away by the waves of demonic energy. The red celestial elephant spat blood. The 8 directions thunder hammer flew out from his hand. The red celestial elephant spat blood. The 8 directions thunder hammer flew out from his hand. Yao Chen's right arm cracked like a drum. The purple gold gourd withered to the ground. Yi Qing and Zhao Qian both fell into the clouds. The protective spiritual light on his body was so dim it was almost invisible. The other wind lords weren't much better. One by one, they were either injured, or spiritual power is exhausted. In utter disarray. Just 2 moves. The power of the 36 winds that Qingyun sect takes pride in. He was casually defeated by the bloodline demon lord. Dujie is at the peak of a powerful powerhouse. Clearly, it's not something we can contend with. Li Xuanji forced himself to stand up. His face was ashen and ashen, although he was also a powerful Dujie expert. But the gap between him and the bloodline demon lord remained as vast as before. The opponent was Dujie at the peak, 5 years away from the void. Only half a step away. At that moment, an aged figure, flying out from a distant, nameless peak. Master Zhong. He had only refined the 9-turn profound life pill for just a few days, although his aura was much stronger than before, but full recovery is still far off. However, he could no longer care about that. The sect was on the brink of collapse. Zhong Tianche's strike unleashed thunderous force. A golden thunderball condensed in his palm. With destructive Weisha, he blasted toward the bloodline demon lord. The bloodline demon lord finally looked him in the eye. Aren't you about to die? He even acted immediately. Interesting. The golden thunderball collided with the demon artifact director. Zhong Tianche barely held his ground. The bloodline demon lord increased his strength. Cracks appeared in Master Zhong's golden thunderball. His steps began to retreat. Blood trickled from the corner of his mouth. The bloodline demon lord activated his demonic weapon with full force. It transformed transformed into a roar. Blood oozed from his feet. The Bloodline Demon Lord activated his demonic weapon with full force, transforming into a roaring demon dragon. He lunged at Master Zhong. Master Zhong did everything he could to resist, but after all, he had just made a name for himself. The demon dragon shattered his defenses. The tremendous impact made him kneel on one knee. A mouthful of fresh blood spurted out. The golden thunderball shattered. Master Zhong's face turned pale from the shock. Master Li Xuanji and Yao Chen exclaimed in surprise at the same time. They want to rush forward, but the injuries all over their bodies made them stand firm every step. Yao Chen was almost exhausted from even raising his hand. Although Li Xuanji could still stand, but the spiritual energy inside his body was almost depleted. The Bloodline Demon Lord walked slowly toward Master Zhong. Every step carried a suffocating sense of oppression. His eyes were filled with bloodshed and cruelty. He had thought Qingyun sect still had some trump cards. I didn't expect it to be just like this. Back then, those old guys who sealed the game away. His methods are far superior to yours. Since that's the case, then the work starts with you. He left no one alive in Qingyun sect. Consider it 5,000 years of interest. A black demonic artifact condensed in his palm formed a pitch-black sphere of destruction. Countless twisted faces wailed on the surface of the sphere. It exudes a chilling aura. If this strike landed, not to mention Master Zhong, even the highest peak would be razed to the ground. The air was thick with despair. Countless disciples greedily sat on the ground. His eyes were filled with fear and helplessness. Some have already started gasping. Some, in despair, tightly gripped the hands of their fellow disciples beside them. Qin Haotian trembled all over. The once defiant demeanor was completely gone. Lin Qingshue's hand gripping the sword was trembling. The once defiant demeanor was completely gone. Lin Qingshue's hand gripping the sword was trembling. For the first time, fear appeared on his cold face. Simon Zhang and young Master Ouyang looked even pale. At this moment, the two princes looked no different from ordinary disciples. I stand on the universe diagram, looking at everything before him. His heart was pounding wildly. To be honest, I'm terrified. But the cultivation of the vengeful demon sect was at the peak of Dujie's powerhouse, and I am nothing more than a simple piece. The gap between the two can't be described by a single heavenly debt. It was like the distance between an ant and a true dragon. Even the sect leader, the 36 Grand Elders, were granted titles, an existence that even a hand can't block. What can a newcomer like me do? Less than a month after joining. But if I don't step forward, the advisor is about to die. The sect leader is about to die. All the lords must die. The entire Qingyun palm is doomed. I took a deep breath, feeling the wildly beating heart in his chest. Then I stepped on the Qingyun map and flew out. Lin Moheng, come back here. Li Xuanji shouted quietly. His voice had completely changed. Junior brother, no. Lu Yuan was anxiously stomping his feet below. Lin Moheng even called out to Lin Qingxue. That was the first time I heard his voice tinged with panic. I pretended not to hear. He stopped and flew between the Bloodline Demon Lord and Master Zhong, facing those blood-red tree buckets. I tried hard to keep my knees from going weak. The Bloodline Demon Lord withdrew the destruction orb he was about to release. A mere ant at the spirit communication realm. You're here to die. Lin Moheng, a disciple of Xie Qingyun sect, I ask your excellency to hold a high platform and honored hands. You're here to die. Lin Moheng, a disciple of Xie Qingyun sect, I ask your excellency to hold a high platform and honored hands. The ant begged for mercy. It's actually quite interesting. It's been 5,000 years. Finally, I met a brave ant, but I never listened to nonsense. Go to hell. He waved his hand casually. A demonic light blade slashed toward me. The blade of light was so fast I could barely react, but his body instinctively activated the Qingyun diagram. Mountains, rivers, sun, and moon phenomena appeared. He withstood the blow. The Qingyun diagram collided head-on with the Mochi light blade. I felt an irresistible distance approaching. All the internal organs are flipping over. It was as if someone had grabbed my internal organs and buried them in the mud. Countless cracks appeared on the Qingyun diagram. I was so shocked I was sent flying. On the 100 Battles dragon scale armor, the golden dragon's phantom flickered uncertainly. It blocked most of the impact for me. Even so, when I landed, I also hit a big pit as deep as a tree came. His mouth was full of the taste of blood. This was just a casual strike from the Bloodline Demon Lord. But I managed to get out of the pit. Every bone was crying out in pain. The taste of blood in his mouth was so strong it was hard to choke. But I still stood up, because behind me stands Master Zhong. He was the sect leader. It is the master of all the enfeoffments. It was the entire Qingyun sect. If I fall, no one could stand in their way. I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth. Once again, he stepped onto the already cracked Qingyun map. Her legs were shaking. His hand was shaking. His whole body was shaking. But I still stood up. The disciples in the distance saw this scene. Her eyes were red. A boy with a psychic mirror. Everyone is waiting. But I still stood up. The disciples in the distance saw this scene. Her eyes were red. A boy with a psychic mirror, facing the demon lord at the peak of Dujie's powerhouse, sent flying by a single blow. Yet he can still stand up. How much courage does that take? Not dead yet. He actually had some backbone. For your sake, it's fun. Here's another trick from the powder seat. If you still do not die, the fans will kill you first. This time, he put in a bit more effort. A more intense gaze of demonic energy was at the great place, crashing toward me. He had only received more than 10 strokes of the staff. Where it has been done, space is cracking apart. I gritted my teeth and poured all my spiritual artifacts into the Qingyun diagram and the 100 Battles dragon scale armor. At the same time, He activated the life-saving blood of the gas internal enemy, Master Zhong. The moment the golden blood was activated, a golden curtain of light bloomed before me. He managed to withstand the blow head-on. The explosions were deafening. The golden barrier shattered after holding out for 3 breaths. The aftermath will send me flying again. I rolled dozens of times in the air. He finally fell heavily to the ground. Blood gushed from his mouth. Several ribs in his chest were broken. It made a faint cracking sound. The golden dragon phantom on the 100 battles dragon scale armor. It has faded to the point of being almost invisible. The Jiankoan map was shattered into tree blocks. I lay on the ground. His bones creaked all over. Almost unable to move. His essence and blood were all depleted. The explosion shattered. The spiritual energy was almost depleted. I felt like I was really about to die. Vision began to blur. The sounds around her became distant and unreal. I looked up to the sky. Looking at the grey sky that had been touched and enveloped, a wave of indescribable sorrow welled up in his heart. 18 years traveled. 18 months of the month. After much effort, he finally awakened his spiritual root and joined the sect. He hadn't had time to properly enjoy the treatment of a prodigy. Are you going to die here? But just then, I heard the sound. First, Master Li Changshen's voice came. He rushed out from the crowd. All tears streamed down my face. That old man who always loved to brag and put on airs. At this moment, the sound is like red in the midst of it. The shouting was heart-wrenching. My second disciple is the child of destiny. What is a mere demon lord? Li Moheng, you will definitely defeat him. Weisha believes in you. When have you ever disappointed Weisha since you were a child? Then came senior brother Liu Yuan's voice. Junior brother is exceptionally gifted, capable of anything. A mere demon grandson is nothing to him. It's definitely you, Emperor. Next is the red sky phenomenon. But he slammed the ground and roared in a thunderous voice. Lin Moheng is the strongest prodigy I have ever seen. He must have had a miracle behind him. There must be. Yao Chen clutched his broken right arm, but his voice was unwaveringly firm. He could even master the 9-turn profound sound single. There's nothing you can't do. Yi Qing propped himself up from the ground. Horse. Lin Moheng would not lose. How could the child of destiny lose? Zhao Qian. Saimaran was like this, eyebrow painting. One after another, the wealthy merchants spoke up. Love, without exception, is always talking about the same thing. Lin Moheng is sure to create a miracle. Then the sect disciples also erupted in excitement. First, a few scattered voices appeared. Then it grew more and more alike. Ultimately, it converged into a thunderous roar like a tidal wave. Over 1,000 disciples shouted in unison. The sound grew louder with each step. It was almost shattering the Tianqiong. No way. No one really thinks otherwise. Is there anything that a divine grade Lin or the heavenly general can't achieve? He had already passed the festival. What else can't be done? With a single spiritual connection, you can drive away the nervous New Year's winds. Maybe Yuewu could even beat him with data. Even Master Zhong had to support himself. The worn-out voice was faint. The child of destiny truly is extraordinary. I believe in you. Finally, the sect leader Li Xuanji, dragging his scarred body, he stood up. This Du Jie, the mighty figure who commands Qingyun sect, but his gaze had never been so resolute. He was honored as the sect leader. He shouted loudly at me lying on the ground. The forest is not arriving. You are the once in 10,000 years destiny of the Qingyun sect. He is destined to shatter the void. A mere demon lord. He is simply unworthy of being your opponent. I believe in you. One move could wipe him out. This last sentence. Like a key. He opened the fan inside me, a door that had never been opened. That familiar feeling arrived. My dantian suddenly erupted, 10 times more intense than the awakened spiritual root stones, 100 times more intense than awakening divine grade spiritual root stones. An unprecedented force. It gushed forth from the depths of the dantian. Not a trickle. It was a desperate flood. It was a volcanic eruption. This power instantly filled all 4 of my bones, washing over every meridian, flowing through every inch of bone. The depleted spiritual energy replenished again. Shattered meridians repair themselves. Even broken ribs all come together with a crackling sound. I floated up from the ground. Golden light bloomed from within me. Ziki Dong Lai Jing operated autonomously to the utmost. The speed was so fast that his meridians were buzzing. The spiritual energy vortex around him spun wildly. Within a radius of dozens of miles, spiritual energy was gathering toward me. Purple chest 3,000 miles poured down once again, intertwined with golden light. Smelling the 4 treasures phantoms, they also flew out from his palm. Surrounding me. The brush flows like the Yangtze River. The paper resembles a shield. Nothing surpasses the sea of clouds. Yang was as solid as a rock. The sun, moon, and universe anomalies reappeared on their own. A blazing sun hung over my left shoulder. The light was blazing fiercely. A bright moon hangs beside my right shoulder. Pure and pure ash. The heavenly alliance mark blossomed with a purple gold glow on his brow. It resonates wonderfully with all the power within him. The ancestors sang wildly atop the highest peak. Voice is no longer the alarm bell it once was. Instead, it was as passionate as war drums. Like the horn of 10,000 cavalry sounding the horn. The statue of the 75th sect leader of Qingyun sect shook again. The Grand Master's divine sense faintly emerged, but this time, he just watched quietly. No action was made, because he realized he no longer needed it. The bloodline demon lord's smile finally froze. On his handsome, wicked face, for the first time, confusion arose. Bloodstains red among the Polonia trees. For the first time, an expression of disbelief appeared. For the first time, his voice fluctuated, because of his own expression. For the first time, His voice fluctuated, because he felt it, the power radiating from the young man before him. He had actually subtly surpassed the realm of Du Jie's mighty power. I looked down at my own hands. His strength was abundant. It was as if he held the entire world in his hands. I can feel the conviction of each person. Master's pride, Lu Yuan's trust, the expectations of the wealthy owners, the disciples' fervor. Everyone's beliefs come together. It has become tangible power. Into my body. I looked up. He looked toward the bloodline Mosen. At this moment, I felt no fear in my heart. No panic. All he had was an incredibly astonishing certainty. I can win. No, not a win. This is a sure win, because everyone believed I could win. I slowly spread my arms, with his left hand resting on the sun. Right hand holds the clear moon. The sun, moon, and heaven and earth are strange phenomena, spun rapidly under my control. The phantom of the golden needle dragon roared and soared into the sky, then plunges down again, entwined around my arms, warming the path of wealth and energy. Purple clouds came from the east, the power of a divine grade spiritual root, heavenly seal. All the power completely merged at this moment. My body is like a container. It carries the beliefs and hopes of thousands of members in the sect. These beliefs transformed into a world-shattering power. I looked at the bloodline Mosen. He spoke up with a sentence, holding the sun and moon in hand, plucking the stars. There is no one like me in this world. The voice was not loud, yet it was clearly heard by everyone present. The sun and moon took refuge, and a golden purple pillar of light shot out from my palm. The beam was as thick as 100 zhong and as long as 10,000 li, peeling away. With a terrifying aura capable of destroying heaven and earth, it crushed toward the bloodline demon lord, leaving space shattered like a mirror in its path, illusory. Countless black cracks appeared in the air. The bloodline demon lord's expression changed dramatically, showing fear for the first time as he roared. With a single sound, he fully unleashed the demonic energy accumulated over 5,000 years, condensing dozens of layers of defense. But wherever this pillar of light reached, demons, his energy instantly evaporated like ice and snow about to blaze like fire. First level, shattered. Fifth level, shattered. 10th level, fragmented. No. No. Impossible. This is not a power that psychic practitioners can possess. What exactly are you? The bloodline demon lord roared in terror, swallowed by the golden beam. The last few layers of defense, bursting like bubbles. The beam of light pierced through all his defenses, empty on his chest. This explosion, it almost shattered half the heavens. Golden-colored mushroom clouds shot up into the sky, towering 10,000 zhong high. The aftershock sweeps across 1,000 miles. Azure clouds gather the rising sun. It was teetering under the aftermath, counting as remote mountain peaks. Some were even exploited by fish and taken to the hilltops. A spatial rift spread at the center of the explosion. Again, it slowly mended within the golden purple power. As the light gradually faded, everyone held their breath. The figure of the bloodline demon lord had already vanished, not running away. Instead, it completely dissipated. That pitch-black demonic energy, that blood-red tongue tree, that arrogant smile, that pitch-black demonic energy, that blood-red tongue tree, that arrogant smile, all were reduced to ashes within the golden-purple light pillar. Not a single residue was left behind. The rift in Tianqiong slowly closed with his demise. The thick demonic energy dissipated like a court recession. Sunlight pours down again, illuminating the devastated Qingyun sect. One move, one tight move. A peak bloodline demon lord at the peak of Du Jie's powerhouse. He was killed in one move by a disciple of my spirit communication realm. The entire Qingyun sect fell into a deathly silence. Everyone was stunned. It was as if his soul had been pulled out of his body. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Then the silence was broken. No one knew who shouted first. This was followed by a wave of cheers like a mountain and a tidal wave. Over 1,000 disciples erupted in hysterical screams at the same time. Someone was overjoyed and wept. Someone knelt and knocked outside. Some people jumped around like crazy. Someone hugged a fellow disciple beside them and cried loudly, "Lin Mo." He laughed and cried to the sky. Laughing, crying, that's right. Lin Mo, whom I picked up from the foot of the mountain, was fierce. He looked as crazy as a child. Senior brother Lu Yuan collapsed directly to the ground. His mouth was wide open enough to fit a fist. After a long pause, he finally blurted out a sentence. "Junior brother, are you even human?" Sect Master Li Xian, carrying his battered body, walked up to me. This powerful figure, Du Jie, who leads Qingyun sect. At this moment, his eyes welled up. This battered body walked up to me. This powerful figure, Du Jie, who leads Qingyun sect. At this moment, his eyes were bloodshot. He gave me a deep look. Then, formally, he cupped his fists to me. "This is the principle of the flat back. Lin Moheng, you saved the entire Qingyun sect." The 36 winged lords also flew over one after another. No matter how severe the injury was, everyone thanked my luggage. Hong Qian looked at that usually serious face. At this moment, he was filled with excitement and pride. I said it long ago. Lin Moheng must have a miracle behind him. When has my words ever been stopped? If you really do a one-handed fist salute. His voice trembled. Unbelievable. It was truly incredible. Spiritual realm. One move annihilated a peak cross-cutting powerhouse. Even the Grand Master ancestor from 10,000 years ago. I'm afraid they can't do it either. Master Zhong's figure appeared again in midair. His gaze fell on me. His weathered eyes were filled with shock and relief. All Alright, he said 3 times in a row. Every word trembled. The child of destiny truly is extraordinary. Lao Xiao has lived for so many years. He had never seen such a defiant person. You are always on the blue clouds, which can secure the foundation for 10,000 years. When I landed back on the ground, the golden gleam on his kidney had gradually faded. To be honest, I have a bit of a dream. That force just now came quickly and left just as fast. It feels like something is being overdrawn. Now, I've reverted to that little cultivator at the spirit communication realm. My whole body ached. The spiritual energy is empty and empty. They can't even fly. But everyone's gaze at me has completely changed. That wasn't the look of a prodigy. That was the look of a god. I shrank back. Everyone's gaze at me has completely changed. That wasn't the look of a prodigy. That was the look of a god. I shrank my neck. The familiar yellowing sensation returned. That evening, Sect Master Li Xuanji held an emergency sect meeting in the Qingyun Hall. All 36 fengshu were present, although each one was wrapped in bandages, hanging his arms, leaning on a cane, but not a single person was absent. Master Zhong also boldly attended. He sat in the Grand Master's chair he was most skilled at. The meeting had only one agenda item, about Lin Mohan's fengsheng. Li Xuanji sat in the main seat, looking around at everyone. The atmosphere at the banquet was solemn and solemn. This formed a stark contrast to the revelry of the disciples outside. Today, you all have witnessed it with your own eyes. Li Xuanji's voice echoed throughout the grand hall. Hong Qian was the first to step forward. The 8 directions thunder hammer was on the ground like a cane, but the voice was still thunderous. I propose. Lin Mohang was in theft as the Lord of the Thief. Although his realm was still shallow, but his strength and contributions are evident to all. He was fully worthy of the title of Lord. As soon as these words were spoken, the sound of a full charge recombined. Yao Chen nodded to his right arm. I have betrayed my duty. In fact, even if he was made deputy sect leader, I have no objections. Yi Qing held her waist. Secondary meaning. Zhao Qian wrapped himself in bandages. Secondary meaning. Eyebrow painting. Secondary meaning. Gong Sun Han. Secondary meaning. Smelled of a top-tier alchemist from Qianjiao realm, and also achieved today's merit. The position of lord is truly well deserved. None of the 36 lords opposed it. This had never happened in the thousands of years of Qingyun sect's history. Usually, appointing a conferred title takes 3 days and nights of speculation. This time, it was unanimously approved. Master Zhong also spoke slowly. An aged voice echoed through the grand hall. Since the opinions among the people are as such, I also think it's appropriate. But since he was going to confer titles, there must be a mountain peak. He raised his gaunt fingers toward the window. On the west side of the highest peak stands an unnamed peak. The feng shui is excellent. Abundant spiritual energy. Moreover, the highest peak of the jingling peak is convenient for the sect master to look after. Perfect for Lin Mohang. Li Xuanji immediately made the decision. Okay, starting today, the unnamed mountain on the west side of the highest peak was renamed Morfeng. Lin Mohang was appointed as the master of Morfeng. It ranks first among the 37 peaks. The foremost of the 37 peaks. The several peak masters looked at each other in distant expressions. In the past, there were 36 peak masters, partial and orderly. All were on equal footing below the sect leader. Now, there is one more leader. So Lin Mohang may be the lord of the thief. Yet his status surpassed the other 36 seals, second only to the sect leader. The grand hall fell silent for a moment. Afterwards, no one objected. A person who killed Du Jie, a powerful figure with a heavenly seal, sit in this position. Who would dare not submit? The next day, Qingyun sect held a grand Feng grand hall. Thousands of disciples from across the sect gathered together, but it is also unpredictable. I witnessed this historic moment firsthand. Although many buildings are still under repair, I wore a brand new gold-purple robe. This was personally sewn by Master Zhong. It is said that the fabric dates back 10,000 years. It is said that the fabric is the heavenly silkworm silk left behind by the Grand Master 10,000 years ago. Impervious to blades and spears, he held the Mofeng token personally bestowed by the sect master. Stepping on the newly formed Qinquan diagram, he soared into the sky. Li Xuanji personally irrigated the tree for me. Master Zhong personally engraved Mofeng's Shanming Steely into his fief. Starting today, Qingyun sect's 37th letter. Mofeng officially activated his flash. The lord was in theft as Li Mohang. Li Xuanji's voice echoed throughout the sect. The tsunami of cheers echoed endlessly. The disciples shouted my name wildly. Some even burst into tears with emotion. I stand atop Mo Peak, overlooking the mist-shrouded azure clouds. Beneath your feet lies your own peak. Behind him stood Jingyang, thousands of disciples. Above was a cloudless, blue sky. The mountain peaks brushed past. The golden purple robe crackled fiercely. Distant peaks appear faintly in the mist. The ancestors on the highest peak. It shimmered with a purple golden glow in the sunlight. 18 years ago, I was nothing more than a useless spiritual root and abandoned voice that Master had picked up from the foot of the mountain. At that time, I didn't even have a spiritual root. All 5 senior brothers looked down on me, calling me a burden. Who would have thought? 18 years later, today, that useless person from back then who couldn't even break an iron bell. He had already become the leader of the 37 ranks in Qingyun sect. My days have actually become busier. Mofeng first appeared. All affairs are abandoned. They need to recruit disciples and constructed palace buildings. Arrange the formation. Cultivation zones are divided. Fortunately, the sect master waved his hand grandly. He sent a large amount of funds over here. More than 30 rare treasures and geniuses have come from afar, and more than 30 people possessing heavenly talents and earthly treasures, and a complete set of wind-protecting grand formation diagrams. Li Changsheng also moved over from the protector's side, living halfway up Morfeng Mountain, and praised its name. The elderly father wanted to watch over his son up close. In fact, He just wanted to ride on Mofeng's spiritual energy for cultivation. Do not let the scenery face the highest wind. The spiritual energy concentration was several times higher than where he had lived before, but I was happy about it. A master was there to help with some miscellaneous tasks. I felt much more at ease. Even other wind lords proactively sent disciples to help. After all, I saved Guanzong's life. Anyone would be happy to repay such a small favor. In just a few days, Mofeng immediately issued a plan. Even the spiritual herb workers in the back mountain planted the first batch of spiritual herbs. What surprised me even more was, after the news spread, surprisingly, quite a few disciples voluntarily requested to transfer to Mofeng. The reason was simple. He was following Lingmo. No matter what, you won't lose out. I screened and finally accepted 20 disciples. Among them was Su Qiao, who volunteered for the cause. This was the delicate young girl who once hosted me at Xiaofeng. Now, he was already the most diligent cultivator among ordinary spiritual roots. There were also several net-cutting disciples with spiritual roots and spiritual grades, and some new disciples who showed bravery during the demon invaders. That day, I was training at Morfeng's main shop. Senior brother Lu Yuan came to visit. He brought a pot of fine wine. It is said to be a certain lord of the toy, Millennium Spirit Brew that has been secretly stored for 300 years. He shamelessly begged for it. The two of them faced each other at the top of the wind. The fan blows in the wind. Waves of floral fragrance swirl up. It was quite pleasant. Lu Yuan put down his wine glass, his face full of emotion. Junior brother, you've only been in our U-zone for a month. His face full of emotion. Junior brother, you've only been in our U-zone for a month. He was already a wealthy lord. To be honest, I still feel like I'm dreaming. To put it bluntly, keep cultivating at your current pace. It won't take a few years to break through the creation agent. It's not impossible to have a problem within 10 years. By then, it was probably the entire Shinju area. I will strike you down with your horse's head. He spoke sincerely. After all, I've come all this way. There are simply too many miracles created. But I noticed something even more important. His dantian started to heat up again. That familiar warmth, rising from the depths of the dantian. The circulation of spiritual energy accelerated. At this time, Donglai Gold's operating speed suddenly increased. My heart stirred. He quickly sat cross-legged. Lu Yuanjian was startled. Junior brother, what's wrong? Are you feeling unwell? Should we call Uncle Yao Chen Lan? I didn't have time to answer him. Because of the spiritual energy within his body, it is climbing at an incredible pace. The shackles of the spirit mirror, like a layer of neck. It was easily pierced by the surging spiritual energy. The soul mirror stepped directly over it. The jade spirit mirror struck in an instant above the horizon. This energy spread out once again. However, this time the scale is much smaller than before. There is only 100 li in circumference. After all, senior brother Lu Yuan was just speaking casually. It was far less powerful than the whole sect's sudden and resolute moment. But for me, that's enough. When the breath stabilized, I have already stepped into the jade spirit mirror. Senior brother Lu Yuan was dumbfounded. The wine glass in his hand slipped down. It shattered on the ground. I just said something offhand. You broke through. He leapt 2 major realms in a row. I smiled awkwardly. It might be made by Tengen. Jump 2 major realms. I smiled awkwardly. It might be the pharmacological path of the Tian Yuan creation golden pill. Lu Yuan looked as if he'd seen a ghost. Her mouth opened and closed again. Then he suddenly slapped his thigh. Junior brother, your talent is truly unfathomable. I bet. With your insight, he probably wouldn't stay in the Jade Spirit realm for long. Who knows when they'll break through again. His dantian grew hot again. I quickly interrupted him. Senior brother, if you want to drink, then drink. Don't talk about all that nonsense. Come, let me toast you. But Lu Yuan had no idea. Every compliment he said was fueling me. After drinking, he talks even more. He sighed to himself over there. No wonder he's the chosen one. What rules do you have? It's all decoration here. A realm that others could never reach in a lifetime. You skip over in the time it takes to drink a glass. Junior brother, from now on, it might become the entire Shinju. The youngest is Du Jie, a great powerhouse. No, it is incorrect. At your speed, he might even be completely empty at 5 years old. I forced myself to endure the burning sensation in my dantian. Clean up senior brother Lu Yuan. He pushed and shouted as he got down. This guy kept talking. I was afraid I would break through again on the spot. After closing the shop door, I let out a long sigh of relief, looking at his own hands. The spiritual energy of desire and tranquility flowed through the meridians. It was more than 10 times thicker than Tongling Jing. A time traveler. You can become stronger just by relying on others' praise. I sat in the seat of the Fengzhu restaurant in Morphen cooking. He began to carefully review everything that had happened over the years. Master said, I can awaken my spiritual root. I awakened my spiritual root. Master said, it's not surprising that I awakened a divine grade spiritual root. I awakened a divine grade spiritual root. Master said, it's not surprising that I awakened a divine grade spiritual root. I awakened a divine grade spiritual root. Su Qiao said I might be a top grade spiritual root. My spiritual root began to transform. Lu Yuan said I cultivate by advancing by leaps and bounds. I broke through the realm. It also attracted Lei Jie. The disciples of the Quan sect all praised me for being peerless in the single path. I accidentally mastered the 9th class Christmas game. Everyone at Songmen spoke up. I can defeat the Blood Demon Lord. I really took him down in one move. Lu Yuan said I was about to break through again. I immediately jumped from the spirit communication realm to the Jade Spirit realm. This pattern is already crystal clear. Simply put, It can be summed up in 8 words. People praise me as strong. Lift up my God once more. And I also discovered several important details. First, the effect of flattery is related to the other person's sincerity. The more sincere the admiration, the stronger the effect. Perfunctory praise is almost useless. Second, it depends on the opponent's strength. A single sentence from the sect leader. It's even more effective than 10 sentences from an ordinary disciple. Third, it depends on the number of people present. More and more people are praising it at the same time. The more terrifying the power stacks. Just like that day when he was with this bloodline demon lord. Over 1,000 members of the sect shouted in unison. The power that surged into his body in that instant. It was probably comparable to the void exhaust powerhouse. Fourth, the more specific the hype is, the more precise the effect. They say you're amazing. It could only add a little spiritual energy. But if you say you can wipe it out with one move, it really could defeat the enemy in one move. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but have a bold idea. If one day, cultivators throughout Shenju, at the same time, they shouted for me, then I really could be 5 years old in the void. I shook my head. Hold this crazy thought aside for now. Then I really could be 5 years old in the void. I shook my head. Set aside this crazy thought for now. The most important thing right now, it's about managing Mofeng well, and preparing for the upcoming site exploration. In the days that followed, I cultivate while managing Mofeng. It is called management. In fact, most of the omnivores were handed over to Su Qiao. Don't be fooled by the low quality of this girl's spiritual root. His ability to get things done is top-notch. Of course, my most important method of cultivation remains this. Let the disciples praise me. Su Qiao seemed to have this talent from birth. Every day, he went around Mofeng saying that the Wind Master was truly formidable. The wind governs good handsomeness. The Wind Lord is definitely the strongest in the world. Although he was only a disciple with a reverse-grade spiritual root, the effect of hype is limited, but he couldn't stop saying it hundreds of times a day. A little bit accumulates into a lot. My spiritual energy had actually grown much richer. The other disciples followed suit. 20 disciples from Mufeng praised me to the heavens every day. Every word made my Dantian feel a slight warmth. His spiritual energy and cultivation kept rising without him noticing. The most outrageous part is the last sentence. Someone complimented me on being handsome. I really became handsome. So handsome that walking through the sect makes you look 100% handsome when you turn back. Even Hong Tian, that iron-faced old man, would give me a second look. It left me speechless. 10 days later, my Jade Spirit Realm cultivation has already stabilized to the middle stage. If not for deliberate suppression, he must have already broken through to the Jade Spirit Realm Great City. The reason I suppressed it was because he realized his realm had advanced too quickly. This can lead to an unstable foundation. Although the power brought by hype is real, but if you don't take time to consolidate it, eventually, hidden dangers will remain. I haven't been idle during these 10 days, except for solid ones. But if you don't take time to consolidate it, eventually, hidden dangers will remain. I haven't been idle during these 10 days. Besides cultivation, I even went to consult Uncle Yao Chen a few times about alchemy. Although last time that 9-turn whole life pill, it was a stroke of accident. But that experience, this sparked a strong interest in alchemy. Yao Chen treated me very well. He almost gave everything he had, under his guidance. Plus, the disciples praised Feng Zhu's mastery of alchemy every day. He was probably already invincible. My alchemy skills have improved by leaps and bounds. He was already able to reliably refine spirit-grade pills. I also visited Gong Sun Han. He sought advice on some methods for cultivating the literary path. Gong Sun Han told me, 3 months later, the grand banquet of literary and immortal talent is for me. It is a tremendous wish. Make sure I am prepared. He even gave me a secret flute of the Daoist classics. It is said to be the painstaking work of all generations of pavilion masters who have confronted the past. It contains many teachings that have already been written into the Tao. I flipped through a few pages and felt I was very influential. He smelled the faint vibration of Sibao in his palm. It seemed to urge me to comprehend it quickly. Qin Haotian's attitude changed dramatically. The way this new crown prince looked at me before, always carrying a hint of defiance and jealousy. But now, it has become a complex token. Once, I ran into him on the street. He actually stepped aside and cupped his fist slightly. This was unimaginable before. I guess he was probably killed by me with one move. The scene of slaying the bloodline demon lord was completely stunned. After all, in the face of absolute strength, no matter how great the imperial aura clouds are, they are nothing like this. Sima Zun and young master Ouyang, the two princes, he treated me with utmost respect. They even privately sought out Su Qiao, asking if it could be changed to Mofeng. Of course, I politely declined. The reason is simple. Mofeng did not mention the crown prince, and the prince. These people have very complicated backgrounds, easily causing trouble. As for Lin Qingxue, ever since I killed the bloodline demon lord with a single move that day, his gaze toward me changed. No longer the previous defiance and competition. Instead, there was an extra layer of indescribable things. Sometimes I ran into him on the street. He would nod slightly in doubt. Then he quickly looked away. This was unimaginable before. With his personality, she even nodded proactively to others. That was already a huge honor. The day of setting out on a season of adventure has finally arrived. That morning, the entire Qingyan sect came to deliver the message. Koyoshi and the others packed the training ground. Even the mountainside was packed with people. I stood at the very front of the line. Behind him was Lin Qingxue, Qin Haotian, Sima Zun, young master Ouyang, and 3 prodigies from the online world who have emerged from the border. The 2 Feng lords, Hong Qianxiang and Zhao Qian, were responsible for escorting them. Li Xuanqi stood atop the highest peak, watching us leave. And my Dantian grew hot again. I took a deep breath, climbing up the Qinquan map. It flew out first, behind him. All the treasures in a season belong to Li Mohen. Lord Feng will definitely obtain the Void Mirror inheritance. Every shout turns into a trace of warmth in the Dantian. Unconsciously, the spiritual energy grew even thicker. It became even more substantial. Ling Qingxue flew not far behind me. Deng Leng's voice suddenly rang out. Don't embarrass Qing Yunsong. I glanced back at him. In the morning light, on his cold and aloof face, it seemed to have a faint red hue. I smiled. Turn your head back. This was probably what Lin Qingxue could say. The closest thing to taking care of yourself is this. Golden purple light. A long monument stands out behind me, cutting through the horizon, flying toward the distance. The sea of clouds surged. The mountains and rivers are vast and magnificent. Beside him, Hong Qian waved his hand like a giant hand. He opened up a spiritual energy channel for us. In the ranks, Qin Haotian and Lin Qingxue. One flew left and one right behind me. The three nets realm Qinjiao are even farther behind. On the path of sorrow. This old man even remembered to charge me with Song B. I smiled, shook my head, and sped up. Deep within the sea of clouds ahead, a mysterious region awaits us. What secrets do the ruins of the powerful in the void end before the 10,000 are hidden? Whatever it is, as long as someone is present, as long as someone asked, I, Lin Mohen, will never lose. Among the ruins, no matter what awaits me, as long as someone is present, as long as someone asked, I, Lin Mohen, will never lose. Because in this world, there is never a shortage of people willing to praise me, and as long as someone praises it, I will keep getting stronger. It wasn't until the legend of the invincible child of destiny was just beginning.